All right, I know that you have tuned into TikTok and saw a lot of discourse about progressive overload for your strength training, and I wanted to make a video explaining exactly what that is because as we know with social media, there can be a lot of misinformation on topics. So in today's video, I'm gonna break down progressive overload and what it means, how you can implement it into your own routine, and how I personally would do it as your personal trainer. If you're new here, my name is Jaycee. I am an ACE certified fitness instructor. I'm a personal trainer and college student. And welcome to the channel. We talk about different concepts in the strength training and exercise world and break it down just for you. So if you're new here, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment a question you have down below and I will do my best to answer it. And I just wanted to say before we get started, I do have a goal this year of getting monetized on YouTube so that I can create an online fitness platform that is accessible to all because I believe that exercise should be. So I have a program in the works coming out in July, but if you want to help me out to reach my goal to become monetized on YouTube, watch this video all the way through and hit subscribe. Without further ado, let's talk about progressive overload. So progressive overload simply means that you gradually increase the intensity of your workouts over time in order to stimulate your muscle growth and strength gains. Let's break that down a little bit. So gradual increasing the intensity of the workouts can look very different. It can look like increasing the amount of weight you lift, increasing the reps, or increasing your exercise type. And all of this is very much an it depends situation. It depends on your goals, it depends on the specific exercise, and it depends on your preferences. So I'm gonna take a breakdown into these three different ways that we can progressive overload a workout, what they would be good for, and how to do it. So increasing weight is considered the most common way to progressive overload. This just means you add more weight over time. I would say increasing weight is really good if one, your goals are supramuscular strength specific and exercise specific. It's really good for a compound exercise that you would put at the beginning of your workout. So an exercise that works more than one muscle group, or some sort of stable exercise that you've been doing for a while, you're really good at, and now you're just kind of trying to increase the amount of weight you can lift. So let's take the barbell back squat for example. That's one that people commonly have a weight goal on to try to hit a PR. And so a good way that people would do this is like, let's say they start with the bar at 45 pounds, you get comfortable with the bar, and then every week, every few weeks, however long your timeline is, you add a bit more weight. The way I like to think about adding weight is I will do an exercise with kind of my set weight, the weight I've regularly been doing, and then I'll ask myself on a scale of 1 to 10, how many reps did I have left in the tank? So if I say I'm at a 10, it means I had 0, like I almost failed that set. If I'm at a 5, I could probably do about 5-6 more reps. And I like to strength train typically around a 7 to an 8 unless I'm going to failure at the end of my workout. And so if I feel like I'm at a 5 or a 6, it's time to increase that weight, get myself back up to a 7 and 8 where I only have 2 to 3 reps left in the tank before needing some rest. Another common way that people will progressive overload is increasing reps. Now, increasing reps can be used for muscular endurance training, but it's also a really good way to train muscular strength, specifically for a bodyweight movement or an isolation exercise. For bodyweight movements, let's look at pull-ups for an example. Unless you're doing weighted pull-ups, you can't really increase the weight on a pull-up, but you can, like let's say we're gone from assisted pull-ups, we're already doing regular pull-ups. Okay, so on assisted pull-ups, you can decrease that weight and that's progressive overload. For a regular pull-up, you might want to try to increase the number of reps you can do slightly every week, every few weeks. So you could start at 3 pull-ups and the next week your goal could be 4. And once you get comfortable with 4, let's go up to 6. Like just trying to increase the number of reps you can do. Or for an isolation exercise, let's say that there is an exercise that you've gotten pretty comfortable with. You're not looking to increase the weight for different reasons. It might be you feel that it's not as safe to increase the weight. You've kind of maxed out, you've hit your genetic limit on how much volume you can hold, or you're just not going to get up for a while. That would be a really good one to slowly increase the weight. So for me, that would be, let's say, bicep curls. I curl 15 pounds on the bicep curl. If I really wanted to, I could curl more, but that's not really a goal I have. 15 pounds still gets me at like a nice 6 or 7. So I like to increase the weight that I can do. And then once I get to like being able to do 3 sets of 15 reps, then yeah, let's go ahead and increase that weight. So I'll start it whereas like week 1, I'll do 6 reps. Week 2, I'll do 8. Week 3, I'll do 10. Then I'll do 12, kind of like going at it for a while and then moving up the weight. Because sometimes you want to train the same weight for a pretty consistent amount of time. And you can also pair this with increasing volume. So for example, let's take a bench press. Let's say you're starting out with 3 sets of 3 at 45 pounds. Before you increase that weight up to like 55 pounds, maybe you want to have a certain number you can do with the bar. So for example, when I was first starting out, I was was able to do 3 sets of 5 on the bar, and I had a goal of I'm not going to increase the weight until I can do 3 sets of 10. And so I gradually moved that number every up until I had the muscular endurance and strength to get me through 3 sets of 10 on the bench. And then I moved up the weight and started again. So you can really combine these things. So another way it might look like, think so you have your base weight, 8, 10, 12. Once you can do 12, move up the weight, start right back at 8 reps again, is kind of how I think about it. And finally, the last method is changing up your exercise. So this is more for fundamentals or beginners. This is really good for learning an advanced exercise, something that you're maybe a little bit uncomfortable doing. And we're gonna take Bulgarian split squats, for example. If you have never done a Bulgarian split squat before, it's your first time doing them, we might wanna progress up to them so that we are successful in them. And I'm talking like you've never done a split squat before. Let's say it is your first time in the gym. The most that you have done is a squat, and we wanna get to Bulgarian split squat. We can use a changing exercise progression to progressive overload ourselves up there. So let's start with a bodyweight squat. Then once we get comfortable with that, we move to a goblet squat. Once we get comfortable with that, we do a stationary split squat where we're in that Bulgarian split squat position, but both feet are even on the ground. Once we get comfortable with the way the center of gravity is, let's put a plate underneath our back foot and get used to a slight elevation in the back. And then finally increase the height of that till you're at bench height doing your Bulgarians. That way, these are really good to understand the form behind the exercise and decrease injury. I highly recommend it if you want to try something more advanced, like even like a piston squat, like something new, advanced, and you want to reduce your risk of injury. So how would this get put all together? So all of these techniques can be used for different aspects of the program. They can be used separately together, but here is how I would think about doing it. So we're going to use the example of a gym leg day. So you're going to start out with your compound movement. Let's say we're doing a back squat. For that, I would do a combined weight and reps progression. So let's say we start out at 8 with 45 pounds, then we do the next week, 3 sets at 10, final week, 3 sets at 12. For the 4th week, we're going back to 3 sets at 8, but this time we've moved it up to 50 or 55 pounds, and we kind of start again. So in kind of a 3-week block where each week you are adding on more reps, and at the end of the block, you're gonna add on more weight. Now that's as you're comfortable. It might take some people longer or less time. Then for our second movement, that is our secondary movement. Let's say we're doing a Bulgarian split squat. We're gonna do that exercise progression. We're gonna say that we've never done one before. So we're gonna start with some split squats and then slowly increase the height of our back leg till we're at a Bulgarian split squat level so that we can get that form down. Then we have our complementary movement. Let's say we're doing a dumbbell RDL. For this, since that is a movement we're doing with dumbbells, form is down, we're solid on it, I'd use a weight progression with this. Let's say we keep using 30 pounds and then one day 30 pounds doesn't feel so heavy anymore. Let's go grab those 35s. We're back at that 7 to 8 level. And finally, for our isolation movement, let's say we're doing single leg calf raises. I would do a rep progression. So I'd have a goal. Let's say I did 5 last time on my right leg. Let's go for 6 or 7. So kind of that is how I would use all of those progressive overload techniques in order to create a program that progresses me in the different ways that I need to be progressed, rather than just sticking to one method and it might not necessarily work as well to maximize our benefits in all the other areas. So that is all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it so much. If you did, leave a comment down below with any questions, comments, or concerns that you have. Make sure to watch this all the way through and subscribe for more fun fitness content. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.